So this is Dan Ridsdale, head of TMT at Edison Investment Research, and today we've got Jon Jayal from Quixant here to talk about their recent trading update and the actions they're taking to mitigate COVID-19. Jon, many thanks for coming in. Could you just start by discussing the highlights of your full year 19 results, which you gave the highlights of in your recent trading update?
Yeah, good morning, Dan. So 2019 was in line with our revised guidance. So we came in with revenues of 92 million, adjusted PBT of 10.7, and strong cash generation. So ended the year with net cash of 16.1 million. That obviously is an incredibly important number given what was to ensue in 2020. So 2019 ended up as expected. One of the sort of features of the year was the challenges we had with some of the major customers and the visibility thereof of their revenues. I'm really pleased to say that the changes that we were making around our sales discipline to get better visibility have made an impact already. And we saw the rewards from doing that in the first quarter this year before we started to see the major impact of COVID-19 hitting the business.
Great. And looking specifically at the gaming division, you discussed the impact that you've had from competition there. Can you just discuss the dynamics there and maybe a little bit more specifically the actions that you've taken to reverse that trend?
Yes, so we've had a ride through the business since it started, where most of our customers have seen very consistent consumption of our products. So there's been an initial ramp up, and then consumption year on year has been quite predictable. In more recent times, some of those customers have had competitive pressures within their market. And as a result, they saw reduced volumes for their product, reduced demand for their product. And we saw, therefore, reduced demand for our product. I think what this does bring into focus is really our core sales pitch. And that is that game design is everything. So the more our customers are focused on game design, the more successful they'll be, the more competitive they'll be. Therefore, the more products they will sell, and therefore the more products we will sell to them. So it goes back to the core message, which is that game design is king. Spend more of your time on game design and outsource the computer platform element, which is what Quixant does so well.
Great. And then moving on to Densitron. Can you discuss the Densitron change strategy and the progress you've made along that so far?
So the first point, about Densitron, which I'd like to make is while the gaming sector at the moment is very heavily impacted by COVID-19, so many of the casinos, many of the gaming venues around the world are closed, and even those that aren't, obviously people can't travel so readily, so that's a big problem. Densitron is currently still running quite well. They have medical market exposure, which for obvious reasons is still performing well. We have customers placing orders, pulling orders in. We have made the decision as a corporate to accelerate and to prioritise any medical customers that we have, and also offer our help to any other customers which we may have leads from, simply because it's the right thing to do. So Densitron is still going well in this period. What we've been really focused on in Densitron is to increase the value of the products that we offer. So rather than just offering the displays that have been Densitron's core business for a number of years, we've started to offer higher value control surfaces, and do that really focused on individual vertical markets. So the first vertical market where that's been deployed, that strategy of vertical focus and higher value product has been deployed, is the broadcast market. And that's been very rewarding. We've seen a pipeline of new business, which was $9 million in September last year, grow to $12 million as of March this year. So a really strong growth story, and some of that pipeline has now generated revenue. So in a sort of a circumstance where this year was normal, we would be expecting Densitron to have grown. In this current year, in this current climate, clearly there are sectors within Densitron which are very heavily impacted. So the industrials, for example, is hurt by coronavirus, and therefore the growth that we see in certain areas may be tempered by that decline in others.
And then moving on to COVID-19, can you just discuss maybe in a little bit more detail, the impact that that is having on trading and the actions that Quixant has taken to mitigate that?
Yes, so I think first of all, I'm very proud of how our colleagues around the world, and we are a very global company, so it is a truly global effort, have handled the COVID-19 outbreak. The Taiwanese team were on the front line at the beginning when we had supply chain issues, and they were exemplary. And I think the Taiwanese government actually deserves credit as well for that in terms of how they handled the beginning of the outbreak. And so, we had a month or so where there were really major problems with supply chain, but that was very, very quickly fixed. And actually, supply chain is now the least of my worries. The issues now move towards demand, and in principle that many of the customers in the gaming sector are closed. The gaming venues are closed, and therefore their customers aren't buying. And within the Densitron sector, clearly there are elements of that business which also are closed as well. So we have currently a situation where most of our teams are remote working, and that is working very effectively. We haven't had any sort of deterioration of customer support. I haven't had a single complaint from a customer saying we haven't had the support we needed. And while our customers are not going to be buying for an indefinite period of time while things are closed, we very much believe that with the strong balance sheet and the net cash position that I talked about before, a very low debt position, in fact a zero debt position if we paid off the mortgage that we have on our Taiwanese office, that we would be, we are able to weather this storm very effectively, and we haven't drawn down on any of the facilities that we've got available to us yet. So while of course we have to be careful in terms of how we're managing our cash, we need to be careful in terms of spending on discretionary items. We have an extremely strong position to enter this, and therefore not just weather this, but come out of it being one of the stronger companies, hopefully, and be able to jump back into a more normal world more quickly.
And you recently announced some board changes. Can you please just discuss the rationale for that?
So yeah, the founders of the business, Nick Germany, Gary Mullins and JJ Lin, are changing their roles. So Nick and Gary are becoming non-executives, and JJ Lin is going to be stepping down from the board. Really, this is just a reflection on the confidence that they have as founders and key and major shareholders in the new management team that is being built. And that enables them to take a change in their role, which is something that has been occurring over the last few months anyway, and this has just confirmed it. Also, Gay Hudson, one of our non-executive directors, is stepping down, and we are currently looking for a replacement for her.